As my dad has gotten older, I've realized that there is a uncanny resemblance between him and Pierce Brosnan. So when my girlfriend and I sat down to watch MobLand, the latest Guy Ritchie series, which is awesome, by the way, I kept saying to her, that's dad. And it honestly ruined Pierce Brosnan for my girlfriend. Sorry, baby, I love you. But yeah, every time he was on screen, I was just like, the resemblance is kind of crazy. You know, we just finished the series or the first season, and I texted my dad and was like, I need you for something to model. Don't ask any questions. It's going to be fun. And luckily he was down. So we filled him in on what we were doing, and we threw together these outfits, which actually turned out insanely good. And he was such a good sport about it. He actually threw together some of his own outfits and did some research to like go even a step further than what we were planning, and checked out some other outfits that Pierce wore, or Conrad is his character's name, during the show. So we actually got a couple different looks, which is great. And I think they all turned out amazing. So yeah, in this video, I'm just going to show you the images we took, obviously, and also walk you through the process, how we did it all, brought it to life, and on an insanely low/zero budget. It was all using stuff that I had already, and none of these things are expensive. I mean, obviously, with the exception of the camera being the most expensive thing. But yeah, I think the images turned out really good and accomplished what I was hoping to accomplish. And we just had fun with it, which is honestly the main thing. And I think it's so important to really be creative with stuff like this. And when you have these creative ideas, or you might think of them as crazy ideas, it's important to try and bring them to life. So a lot of times I feel like people will have ideas like this and never pursue them or never follow through with them. So it was important to me to, you know, actually go ahead with this, and rather than just say to my girlfriend, hey, you know, it'd be fun if we did this, we actually went ahead and did it, and I'm so happy we did. So basically for this shoot, it was nothing fancy, and I'm all about, you know, doing things on a budget and kind of making the most of budget gear. And we definitely did that with this shoot. So all I used was actually a cheap Neewer speedlight and a softbox and a C-stand. And it was just a one light setup, very simple. And then we also brought in a reflector to kind of help with some of the shadow on the face, and I'll show you that as well. But my dad is not a model by any means, and he was actually super uncomfortable while we were doing this, and it definitely required him to step out of his comfort zone, which is fine. And he was a really good sport about it, but he's not used to taking images where he's not smiling. So that was kind of a interesting and fun thing to deal with. So he really was like putting on a face. Anyway, honestly, like even if the images didn't turn out good, this just would have been a fun thing to do. And also I'm like making memories with my dad, and he's getting older, which if I think about it too much will make me super sad. So it's just cool to like, now I have these photos of my dad as well, that I can keep forever. And it's just something fun that we got to do together. And I'm glad that he was such a good sport about it. And he was actually really happy with the photos, and everyone that we've shared them with have been like really, really loving them. And again, it's just for fun. It's not anything crazy. We don't take it too serious. It's fun to be creative and just like bring your ideas to life. So that's the most important thing. And yeah, so my favorite, or the main look that we went for, was actually from episode 1 of the show. And he was wearing this green jacket, ton of layers. Like I think there was like a sweater in there. I don't know if it was like a cardigan or whatever, but and then one of those neck tie things, I don't know the proper term, and a button up. Anyway, just a lot of stuff going on. And of course the hat was the key piece there. So we did order the hat off Amazon, and my dad actually gave me money for it because he's going to keep it and loves it. So that's a win, I guess. But the hat kind of put everything together for sure. But the other things were just stuff that he had already, and we kind of just put it all together, makeshift, very last minute, very haphazardly. And Dad just grabbed a bunch of stuff from his closet to assemble these outfits, which I think worked out amazing. And then it's actually my girlfriend's jacket that he's wearing, that like barn coat style. Obviously, the one that he's wearing in the show is probably very expensive and much, much fancier. But this was an oversized jacket that my girlfriend bought, and it actually fit him perfect. So that just worked out so good. And yeah, we just kind of, put these layers together. It was my mom's scarf that he wound up using as like the neck piece under the dress shirt. And yeah, once we had the outfit sorted out and good to go, we just kind of started to mess around with some different poses and experiment. Again, we did all this in our living room area of our apartment, so not a lot of space and very makeshift studio setup. We have a backdrop. It's a Savage paper backdrop. We've used it many times for a couple different projects and shoots and stuff. So we just brought that back out, and it's like a kind of like a sandy color, bit of texture, which is really nice. And that's, I guess, giving a lot of the look, and then paired with our one light setup. We did maneuver the light a bit to kind of get it to where we want. And one thing I do have a bit of regret about is the fact that we didn't do any shots with the cap off, even though that would have been awesome. So we wound up with kind of some strong shadows on the face, which definitely gives it like a dramatic look, which is cool, and it matches the vibe. But it would have been nice to have some without the hat, because my dad literally looks like Pierce Brosnan. They have the same hair and everything. It's crazy. It's crazy. So yeah, that's a kind of a, screw up on my part. If I had my time back, I would have done some without the hat, and it would have made for some better images and get rid of those shadows. So we did notice that we were getting lots of shadow on the face, and this is when we brought out the reflector. So I got my girlfriend to kind of just stand or lay or sit, holding the giant silver reflector on the opposite side of the light to kind of bounce some of that light back onto the face. And I'll show you an image here without the bounce or without the reflector, and you can really see there's a lot of shadow on the side of the face. And then when we brought in the reflector, just how much it helps lift those shadows and bring some light back onto the face. That looks much, much better. So super crucial that we had this, and it made a world of difference as well to help light up that face. So definitely worth the investment. Again, that's a very cheap item to invest in. I think the one I bought is like $25, maybe $30 Canadian. Again, I think it's Neewer brand. So I'm going to put everything in the description below that we used, and it's all very budget stuff. So the flash that I used is just a cheap Neewer speed light. It's a manual speed light. I think it was maybe $50 Canadian and came with the trigger and everything. And then the C-stand, also Neewer brand. This is not sponsored by Neewer, but it probably should be at this point. They just have really great budget gear, so I get it all off Amazon. And I'll link everything below. C-stand was probably more on the pricey side of like $150 or whatever. I got that for Christmas from my dad, actually, so that worked out well. And then we just used a big softbox. I want to say 56 centimeters or inches, can't remember. Anyway, but it's one of the larger ones, and just one layer of diffusion, no grid. A grid probably would have helped in this shoot, but we didn't bother, just to kind of, shape the light a bit better onto the face. Anyway, it still worked without it. If I can give you any advice, if you're not used to shooting off-camera flash, the best tip is to go with the lowest power on your flash and bring the light as close to your subject as possible. That is my best advice. That's going to give you the most flattering light. So we had the light and the flash quite close, just out of frame. And again, it's quite a large softbox, so it did a good job illuminating him and giving us that dramatic look that we were going for. And I experimented with a couple in black and white, and I think they turned out really good. The one of my dad looking kind of pensive, staring down, was actually my girlfriend took that image and really loved that. It turned out amazing. And she took that because she was trying to get me to talk to my dad to just relax him and get him more comfortable because he was super nervous and feeling very uncomfortable, which obviously, when you're put in front of a camera like that and you're not used to it, most people are, pretty nervous and uncomfortable in that situation. So I tried, and then we took a little pause, and that's when she snapped that photo of him kind of looking down. And that one is definitely one of my favorites. But yeah, we played with a couple different looks, and I dialed in the, I hate the term cinematic, but I guess obviously because it's coming from a TV show, I wanted to kind of match that gritty, dramatic, cinematic look in post. So when I was editing, that's kind of what I had in mind, a bit of warmer tones, high contrast to a degree, but I'm really happy with, everything and how they turned out. And I think I still have so much to learn when it comes to, experimenting with off-camera flash and just real studio style or editorial style portrait photography. It's something I'm not super, familiar with. I don't do a lot of it. I do enjoy it when I do it, but it's definitely not my specialty. So again, I always recommend, if you want to grow as a photographer, to just experiment with different genres and step out of your comfort zone a bit. I just think it's super important to, experiment with these things and to help you grow. So this was a learning experience in a lot of ways, but also just having fun and being creative is literally the main thing. If I can say anything about this shoot, it's just to, try and bring your ideas to life. It's not always going to turn out how you want. In this case, I think it turned out really good, and we're super pleased with the images. My dad loves them. Everyone he's shown them to has loved them. And I was very happy with the end result as well. And kind of, I got what I had in my head, and we were able to bring that to life. So that's all I can ask for. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I got a couple other videos planned already that I'm working on, more on the editing side of things. So if you're into that, definitely stay tuned. And if you're new here, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And we'll see you again next time. Peace. Also, drop your favorite photo below. I want to know.